Holiday's penetrating fog, Holiday goes everywhere at once, killing roaches, ants, and fleas in virtually every crack and crevice. So, when you've got bugs, it's simple. Take a Holiday.
Next on Barney Miller, mental patients liven up the squad room.
Don't crowd me. Don't anybody crowd me or my pants are coming off. I mean it.
Am I going to have a naked, crazy person in here with me?
No visitors. And Harris gets an attractive offer.
If you want it, all you have to do is ask.
Barney Miller, Monday night at 9:30, right here on Key 3, the best view in town.
Support the Rape Crisis Center.
Elvis Presley. Jerry Lee Lewis. Roy Orbison. Little Richard. James Brown. Brenda Lee. Pat Boone. Rick Nelson. Paul Anka. Frankie Valli.
They don't cry. My mama told me.
Smokey Robinson.
R-E-S-P-C-T.
Aretha Franklin.
R-E-S-P-C-T. Take care of CCP.
Plus Fabian, the Beach Boys, Jackie Wilson, and Marvin Gaye. All on Rock and Roll, the early years.
My name is James Darren. You know, rock and roll is every bit as American as baseball, apple pie, and the 4th of July. It was born in the gospel music of the Deep South, in the urban blues of the North, and in the country swing of Texas. And though it spread far and wide around the world, it all began right here in America. In the next hour, we'll explore the roots of rock from Memphis to Motown as we celebrate the early years of rock and roll.
All of a sudden, everybody started calling me killer, killer, killer. I say, killer. Somebody in the audience the other night said, killer of rock and roll. I said, well, I haven't killed it, but I think I have to make it.
Yeah, come on over, baby. We got chicken in the barn. Woo, honey, come on over. We got a fool by the horn. Oh, we baking a whole lot of cake going on. Oh, shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake.
Introducing Glade Spin Fresh, the bathroom tissue roller turned air freshener.
Fresh in the spin, fresh smell, fresh in the spin.
Fresh idea.
New Glade Spin Fresh, give it a spin.
New Glade Spin Fresh, the air freshener that's a bathroom tissue roller with fragrance beads inside for a powerful burst of freshness every time you spin the roll and light continuous freshness when you don't. So make your bathroom
fresh in the spin, give it a spin. New Glade Spin Fresh, give it a spin.
As soon as that clap goes, I hear this hungry. And it's like, get me a Snickers bar.
Snickers satisfies you.
If you're gonna have a snack, it might as well be a Snickers because my hunger's controlled until dinner.
Packed with fresh peanuts, peanut butter nougat, caramel, and milk chocolate.
Satisfies you.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
All the way through the whole bar, it's packed with peanuts.
Official snack food of the 1984 Olympic Games.
A must-to-see, the original and authentic Great White Stallions of Vienna in the world's greatest equine extravaganza, the world-famous Royal Lipizzan Stallions Show. See the dancing white stallions made famous by the Disney movie The Miracle of the White Stallions on tour. They will prance, dance, and present their spectacular leaps in the airs above the ground. See the Royal Lipizzan Stallions Show. Don't miss it.
The Lipizzan Stallions will be at the Earl Warren Showgrounds June 29th and the Ventura Fairgrounds June 30th. His name is Richard Kimball. He's been convicted of murdering his wife, but he is innocent. En route to the death house, there's a train wreck, and Richard Kimball escapes. Now the fugitive is alone, hunting the killer he saw in the night, constantly fleeing the relentless pursuit of the police lieutenant obsessed by his capture. The Fugitive, award-winning television drama stunningly portrayed by David Jansen, and world-famous guest stars in every episode. The Fugitive, weekdays at 3:30, right here on KEYT.
The youngsters were ready for something, for a change, because they weren't into big bands. They didn't know about big bands. The parents were now either were just too old and had made another move. I mean, the war babies jumped on the bandwagon. That's what we're talking about.
If you think about it, in my case, and in Elvis's case, and Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee, everybody sort of wound up with their very own definite thing.
Rock and roll didn't actually begin with Elvis Presley. It began with Bill Haley and Clyde McPhatter, and any number of 100 musicians who were beginning to feel the beat of a completely different drummer. But for most of America, rock did begin with Elvis, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, and Roy Orbison in a studio run by Sam Phillips down in Memphis called Sun Records.
Sun Records became, the Sun period became very important historically. And the only reason I know that is a lot of people started calling and wanted to know about that. And so it was sort of like instant history. We have instant coffee and instant everything. So we now have instant history. So all of a sudden, 56 became very important as being the beginning of something. And I don't know exactly what. You know, I've explained that we all were just trying to do the best we could do independently.
Little woman, when the diamond ring, you know how to fix that thing all right. Everyone I say, all right. Everyone I say, all right. Everyone I say. Tell your mama, tell your pa, gonna send him back to Arkansas.
Auditioned for all these people in Nashville, all the recording companies, Columbia Records to RCA, Decca, Dot, you name them. And they said, well, son, can you play a guitar? I said, yeah, I can play a guitar. I can play a fiddle. I can play a bass. I can play a drum. But I'm a pianist, you know, and that's it. And they said, well, now, if you can play a guitar, I said, look, man, these cats here, you call hits, you know, they can't even tune a guitar. And I'm a piano player. I'm not a hillbilly local yokel cat, you know. I'm rock and roll. So I went to Memphis, Tennessee with Sam Phillips and them, and he recognized my talent.
But you came along and you moved me, honey. I changed my mind. The love is mine. Goodness and grace, just great all the time. Kiss me, baby. Ooh, me feel good. Hold me, baby. Yeah, got to let me love you like a lover should. You're fine, so kind. I'm gonna tell this world that you're mine, 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 mine. I told myself, wanna get you never gonna show his love. Come on, baby, drive old Jerry crazy. Goodness gracious, wait for the fire.
Parents could not stand it. I mean, they were used to take their radios away from them, and we'd hear stories of that sort. And stop that loud music. They couldn't take that.
At the same time that Elvis, Jerry Lee, and Roy were spreading the gospel from a studio in Memphis, little Richard Penniman was inventing his own form of rock and roll in Macon, Georgia.
My grandfather, Mr. Stewart, Richard Stewart, he had a piano. He gave us this old upright piano, and so I would get on the piano. And I would do wop, bop, a loo, bop, a lop, bam, boom, but I was really making like a drum beat for myself. Wasn't no drum. No Tutti Frutti, old Rudy, you know. And so, but I never thought that I would be as big as a guy over the world.
I want bop, loo, bop, a lop, bum, bum, got a girl named Sue. She knows just what to do. Got a girl named Sue. She knows just what to do. She knows how to love me, yes indeed. You don't know what to do.
As fast as you could say a wop bop a loo bop a wop bam boom, tutti frutti led to long tall Sally, Miss Ann, Lucille, Jenny, and good golly, Miss Molly. Whew. Who were all those women anyway?
Jenny, know that you my girl, Jenny, woo, Jenny. Yeah. Please come back where you belong. Don't talk that shit. This week's got everything that Arkansas needs.
I knew Ann, but I didn't know Molly. Neither did I knew Long Tall Sally. The Sally that I knew was short. And I didn't know no Tootie or Rudy, you know. But the thing was about it, see, I had a chauffeur with me named Johnny Mary Scarecrow out of Mississippi. That was my chauffeur. He was a white guy. And he would make up songs around me. He would take my idea of, not my idea of writing, but my gimmicks, you know, that I used in songs. Then he would bring them to me and I would put my melody with them, but I never did claim writer rights when really I was really the writer of the song. But at the time, the fame was riding so high I didn't think about it till it was over.
Inside you, go the things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
All that you can
Hey,
be.
First Sergeant. Good morning.
You can do it in the army.
If you own ColecoVision, you already own a powerful state-of-the-art computer that gives you the arcade experience with the newest arcade games like Donkey Kong Jr., Looping, Pepper 2, Time Pilot, Mr. Do, Space Fury, Frontline, arcade controls like Turbo, the Roller Controller, and new Super Action Sports. And soon, you'll plug in computer modules that'll blow your mind. It's simple. ColecoVision, the expandable video game system, is also the expandable home computer system, the only system you'll ever need.
Fresh. The Old Port Inn.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Bradford. I was just reading about 8 is Enough. You're gonna like it more than any other show you ever saw in your life.
True to life family drama, Tuesday through Friday at 5 on 8 is Enough, here on KEYT, the Key News Station.
They say there's 4 B's today. Brown, Bach, Beethoven, and Brown.
Like a lot of people who found fame and fortune thanks to rock and roll, the godfather of soul, James Brown, turned to music to help raise himself out of poverty.
I rent with $5 a month. And that house is not there, but one of the houses is there. And my people weren't making enough money to pay that $5 a month. And we had maybe 12, 15 people living in the same house. You know? And I would go and boat dance for the cavalry soldiers with the horses. And they'd throw pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters. And sometimes I'd come up with $12, $15. And I'd take all the money back and give it to my aunt to pay the rent with.
You've got your high sneakers on, slipping you got your highest speakers on, and you're slipping mute. You're more than all right. You know you're out of sight. You got a shapely figure, mama, that's keeping me uptight. You got a shapely figure, mama, keep me uptight. Too much. You know you're out of sight. Hey, the way you do the thing you do, the way you kiss me too, the way you do the thing you do, the way you kiss me too. My heart and life, that's what you are. You know you're out of sight.
James Brown began his recording career in 1948, but he didn't begin to have any success until 1955 when he found a backup group called the Famous Flames. Fellow legend Little Richard remembers meeting James way back when.
He always called himself famous, but even before he made a record. He put that on his sign himself, the Famous Flames. I think he did it so that if nobody else never did it, he would have done it first.
I feel good. I knew that I would now. I feel good. I knew that I would now. So good, so good. I got it. I feel nice. Feel fine. I feel nice. Sugar and spice. So nice, so nice. I got it.
Early rock and roll was dominated almost exclusively by men. And when the occasional female voice was heard in the land, it usually had a country twang to it, as in the case of Little Miss Dynamite, Brenda Lee.
I'm sorry, so sorry. Please accept my apology. But love was blind, and I was too blind to see. Sorry.
Well, you know, coming from the South, and especially coming out of Nashville, I thought that I was country music. I started out country music, and those were my roots. I think the reason they categorized me maybe pop was because at that time country music was either bluegrass or Katie Wells, that kind of country. If you didn't sing that, there were no Glenn Campbells, there were no Bobby Goldsboros, there were no Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelsons, Chris Christophersons. There were no people like that then, crossovers, you know. Mm-hmm. So if you weren't that, then you were pop.
Brenda Lee was only 15 years old when she hit #1 with I'm Sorry, making her the youngest woman to ever hit #1. But even better than that, Brenda got a personal phone call from her idol, Elvis Presley.
The first time I really remember really conversing with him was when he called the office and he asked to speak to me. And I don't think my secretary quite believed. She said, there's some guy on the phone and he says he's Elvis Presley. And I said, well, what did you do? And she said, well, he's holding. So I thought, no. So I went in and it was him. And he said Sweet Nothings was one of his favorite songs. And would I send him a record? And I said, oh, I don't believe this. But I did, and we were friends ever since.
My baby whispers in my ear. Sweet nothing. He knows the things I like to hear. Sweet nothing. secret, baby. I keep them to myself. Sweet nothing. Sweet nothing. We walk along hand in hand. Sweet nothing. Yeah, we both understand. Sweet nothing. Sitting in bed, so trying to read my book. My baby, give me that special look. Sweet nothing. Sweet nothing.
It was the time of the month when I needed relief. If I asked my husband, he'd probably say, take Tylenol. But it's not that simple. There are certain times when women want more. That's when I take Maximum Cramp Relief Formula Pamprin. It has as much aspirin-free pain reliever as extra-strength Tylenol for those aches and pains. And it's got more, a special ingredient to fight cramps, something Tylenol doesn't have. Maximum Cramp Relief Formula Pamprin. It's got more for when you want more.
Hello, I'm Bob Thompson. You know, most garden insecticides warn, do not pick for at least 24 hours. But the bug killer in Raid tomato and vegetable fogger is all natural, so you can use it right up to harvest. Raid's fogging action quickly covers leaves to kill damaging insects on contact. With an all-natural bug killer, they let you pick and enjoy. Raid tomato and vegetable fogger kills garden bugs dead naturally.
New Galaxy Homes brings the price of owning your own property down to earth. New Galaxy offers you low 13% financing with as little as 15% down. Quiet country living can be yours at an affordable price. View and custom lots priced from $27,500. Site-delivered homes are available now. Why lease or rent when you can own your own mobile home lot at New Galaxy? Take the Napomo off-ramp west on Taft, then follow the signs to New Galaxy or call 929-1943.
I'm Jeff Gianola at Key News. You know, covering the news is a 24-hour job. A lot happens overnight here in the Tri-County. To help keep you in touch, join me for the Key News Morning Report at 7:24 and again at 8:24 every weekday morning during ABC's Good Morning America. We'll give you the news you need to know to start your day off right, including a look at the local weather forecast. Join us for the Key News Morning Report every weekday morning right here on Key 3.
Brenda Lee was a real lady, but a lot of early rock stars didn't have the reputation of being real gentlemen. Rock and roll was raunchy, down-to-earth type of music that attracted hard-living, hard-drinking eccentrics. Then, just when Elvis's quivering pelvis seemed as if it was about to overwhelm America, a man from Texas by way of Nashville rode onto the scene in white buck shoes to clean up rock and roll.
Howdy. The white shoes were just another thing that just happened. I was just wearing white shoes. They were white butts with the big red soles in high school and college, like all the other kids. It's just that when my first record happened, and I went on television the first few times, I was wearing these white bucks, and they became, you know, visually identified. There was an impact, and they became a part of my public image. The funny thing is that Elvis, when he went on television the first time, was wearing some old scruffy white bucks too. But I think the camera stayed above his hips, and nobody saw the shoes. And but with me, I was safe both above and below the hips.
As an early rock star, Pat Boone had to weather a lot of criticism of his music, particularly that rock was the music of the devil.
A lot of folks thought that rock and roll really was, in itself, intrinsically sinful, that the beat itself was, you know, demonic. And I couldn't buy that personally, and I took what I thought was a responsible approach to the music in that if a lyric, and a lot of rock and roll lyrics were pretty suggestive. I mean, the phrase rock and roll itself, you know, originally was a sexual phrase, but it had become just a description of music.
You made me cry when you said goodbye. Ain't that a shame? My tears fell like rain. Ain't that a shame? You're the one to blame. You broke my heart when you said we we'll part, ain't that a shame? My tears fell like rain, ain't that a shame? You're the one to blame.
And I knew that I was making rock and roll music more respectable and acceptable. As I look back now, I realize that for better or worse, I was sort of a catalyst in introducing the music to a much broader audience and giving it a certain respectability, which I did carefully. It was not by design, but I see that that's what was happening.
Every new era has come about after a national disaster or a national preoccupation. In every case, you'll find something happen. If back in the 50s, you were referring to rock and roll, and I think the national preoccupation was a new thing called television, in which the kids could see the double standards, reject it, and for the first time, while Goodman and Sinatra had played Cole Porter and Irving Berlin, the kids really rejected that, and so they found it was the first time that we had in this country, in a contemporary music vein, teenage music by teenagers for teenagers.
By the late 50s, rock and rollers seemed as if they were coming from every small town and backwoods in America. And with Ricky Nelson, rock took a quantum leap into living rooms all across America as it emerged from the safe confines of a weekly television sitcom.
The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring the entire Nelson family, Ozzie, Harriet, David, and Ricky. Here is Ozzie, who plays the part of Ozzie Nelson. And, of course, his lovely wife, Harriet, as Harriet Nelson. The older of the Nelson boys, David, appears as David Nelson. And his younger brother, the irrepressible Ricky, played by Ricky Nelson.
The television show was more or less an extension of what our family was. And it was written, my father wrote it, and he had writers too on it. But most of those things were really taken from things that happened to us as kids, especially the early shows. And they were really my father's values, those shows. So, and he never meant it to be like any kind of a learning process for anybody else. You know, I mean, he always wanted it was entertainment, you know. I mean, that was the thing he was trying to get across.
For his first 5 years on the show, Ricky didn't warble a note, and probably never would have if it hadn't been for a girl he was trying to impress.
I was taking her home this one night, and Elvis's first record came on the radio. And all of a sudden I thought, well, I have to say something, you know, to impress her. And I said, well, I'm going to make a record, you know. And she goes, and she laughed a lot. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make a record. I mean, if it's just one record, I'm going to hand it to her and go, see, there's a record, and I'll laugh. One of those things. And I did it on the television show. And the week after that, it sold a million records, and I was, you know, I heard it in the car radio. It was great.
Back to me, I'm lonely as I can be, and I'm waiting for your company, and I'm hoping that you come back to me. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? You're gonna run away and hide. I'm gonna run right by your side. For you, pretty baby, I'd even die. I'm walking. What you gonna do when the well runs dry? You're gonna run away and hide. I'm gonna run right by your side. For you, pretty baby, I'd even die. I'm walking, yes indeed, I'm talking for you and me, and I'm hoping that you come back to me.
At the time, few people realized the power of television, but his visibility on his parents' weekly TV show quickly turned Ricky Nelson into a singing idol rivaled only at the time by Elvis Presley. And Rick remembers it all happened so incredibly fast.
In thinking back on playing like the Ohio State Fair to 20,000 people, you know, and I was 16, and walking out there with a 4-string guitar, and I remember thinking, what am I doing? this is ridiculous. I mean, from my bathroom to the Ohio State Fair, you know, it's a big change.
I'm a traveling man, made a lot of stops all over the world, and in every port I opened the heart of at least one lovely girl. I've a pretty senorita waiting for me down in old Mexico, and if you're ever in Alaska, stop and see my cute little Eskimo. Oh, my sweet Fraulein down in Berlin town makes my heart start to yearn, and my China doll down in old Hong Kong waits for my return. Pretty Polynesian baby over the sea, I remember the night when we walked in the sand of Waikiki, and I held you oh so tight. Road, I'm a traveling man. Road, I'm a traveling man.
Enter into a whole new dimension of sound at House of Audio in Goleta. Experience distortion-free reproduction on Kyocera digital laserdisc players. You will never hear or feel a truer, more accurate, sharper sound anywhere. Enhance your video center by listening to a video sound tracker. Turn your mono signal into a truly stereo sensation. Explore through House of Audio's vast selection of state-of-the-art audio equipment. Discover the leader of audio technology at House of Audio, 5737 Hollister Avenue, Goleta.
Community colleges have something for everyone.
Community colleges are great. Most of them are close to home, and I can even ride my bike.
Community college is a good start.
I was a deputy sheriff, but I always wanted to become a dentist. I got my start at a community college, which allowed me to continue my education and my job.
Community college is a new vocation.
This is my last semester before I graduate. I've been offered 3 jobs, and so have a lot of my other classmates.
Community college helps find out where you want to go.
I'm only 17, and I thought it was a bit young to go on to a university. But I wanted to continue my education, so I thought that a community college was the best idea.
Community college is lifelong learning.
When John retired 5 years ago, we decided not to just sit around.
So we decided to go back to our community college.
And study art history.
And French.
And Spanish.
Your community college, a national resource serving the local community. A public service message of the American and California Associations of Community and Junior Colleges.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Start your day off right. Enjoy a morning stretch with fitness expert Joni Greggins. It's the perfect way to stay in shape, and you never have to leave the house. So bend a little, laugh a little, do something nice for your body, and have a great morning stretch.
Wake up to a morning stretch tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
In the late 50s, America was the place to be if your dream was rock and roll. It was the land of opportunity, the land where a 15-year-old like Paul Anka could go and have a #1 record.
I had such a strong fever to get out of Canada and go make my mark in the world in music that it was just constant energy and confidence in pursuing it. I don't think that I was in any way, in the totality sense, someone who was on top of everything at that time. I think there was obviously a great deal of luck in all of a sudden allowing me to experience everything that happened to me, and to all of a sudden at 16 years old have a #1 record, which in equation to today, there was no experience for that.
Franca was one of the first of what soon became a flood tide of teen idols in the late 50s. And he remembers it all happening with such unbelievable speed.
I was in shock. I mean, I had never seen anything like it before, and the media had never seen anything like it before, and the business had never seen anything before. And out of that came this whole Philadelphia crowd. Frankie Avalon and Fabian and Bob Marcucci used to run around saying, gotta get the haircut, we gotta put you in these pants, and we're gonna do this. I mean, they literally took stars off the street and fixed them up, and if they couldn't sing, it didn't matter. We cut the tape 82 times.
I was discovered on my front doorstep, not in Schwab's, in my front doorstep in South Philadelphia. A manager who managed another popular singer in Philadelphia was passing by as my father had a heart attack and asked me if I'd like, just out of the blue, I don't know where he came from either. I still don't know. If I'd like to, he said he had a certain look. At that time, there were single artists making it, like Presley and Nelson and people like that. And I said, you get the hell out of here. You know, my father's ill. You know, leave me alone. When I finally found out that my father couldn't work any longer, or at all, he had the next door neighbor keep on asking me. I said, I'll try anything to help out with the family. So that's how I got discovered.
Hey, lump of sugar, you look kind of sweet. Cuter than a baby walking down the street. When I look into your eyes, I wanna leave. I can't conceal that you make me feel like a tiger. Ooh, like a tiger. Ooh, just to see you smile really drives me. I wanna growl. Wow.
Along with the birth of the teen idols came the advent of what was called Italian-American rock. There were great groups like the Crests, Dion and the Belmonts, the Rascals, and Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
A lot of songwriters and performers were stimulated by what the Four Seasons were and what they represented. And the four kids from the ghetto who got a break, and it could happen for anybody. That's the most wonderful thing about a country like America.
Frankie Valli was born Francis Castelluccio in the Italian section of Newark, New Jersey. He began singing in the mid-50s as part of the Veritone Trio, which became the Four Seasons. And under the direction of producer Bob Crewe, the Four Seasons went to #1 in 1962 with a song called Sherry. And one of the reasons the song became so popular was the falsetto singing style of Frankie Valli.
We developed the falsetto style while we were a backup vocal group, and I had very early influence in R&B music, and I was listening to a lot of doo-wop groups and street corner harmony kind of groups, and I was very interested in that kind of music.
Big girls, they don't cry. Big girls, don't cry. Who said they don't cry? My girl, said goodbye. My oh my, my girl didn't cry. I wonder why. Silly boy. Oh my girl, we had to break up. That she would call my son when she said to my surprise, big girls don't cry, big girls don't cry, they don't cry, big girls don't cry. Who said they don't cry? Maybe. Oh, I was cruel. Baby, I'm a fool. I'm such a fool. Silly girl. Oh, my girl, we had to break up. Shame on you, you cried and wept. Shame on you, you told a lie. Big girls do cry. Big girls don't cry. They don't cry. Big girls don't cry. That's just an alibi. Big.
It's kind of embarrassing when you're sitting there and somebody else hears your stomach growl. And, you know, they know you're hungry. So I'd grab a Snickers and eat that on the way to class.
Snickers satisfies you.
Keeps your stomach busy and lets you get back to your train of thought.
Packed with fresh peanuts, peanut butter nougat, caramel, and milk chocolate.
Satisfies
satisfies you.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
It satisfies you hungry. What more can I say?
Official snack food of the 1984 Olympic Games.
Discover a sensational deodorant soap, Fiesta.
Richard? Richard?
Fiesta deodorant soap bursts into fragrant lather, refreshes, recharges, revives. And Fiesta's from Jergens, the skincare people.
Honey?
Ricardo!
Don't just shower, celebrate with Fiesta.
For the finest in Italian cuisine, it's Marianne's Italian Villa in Port Hueneme, Ventura, Camarillo, and Thousand Oaks.
From time to time, worn-out brakes, shocks, resonators, and mufflers must be replaced on your car. So to ensure long-lasting safety, have the experts at Discount Muffler and Brake Center take care of your car's needs. Installation will be done quickly and flawlessly. Your satisfaction is guaranteed by Discount Muffler. Bill Huddy here, urging you to have Discount Muffler and Brake Center make your car safe, smooth, and quiet. 2 locations, 715 Chapala Street in Santa Barbara and 6410 Hollister in Goleta.
First of all, you know, everybody seems to have a tendency to believe that wherever they come from, that is it, that's the world. In New York, surf music didn't mean anything. I mean, where are you going to go surfing on 42nd Street? I mean, if anybody came from the West Coast Sound in the 60s, I guess it would have been the Beach Boys because they were talking about cars.
By the early 60s, almost every part of America had developed some sort of distinctive rock sound. There were new styles coming out of Memphis, Nashville, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, and with the birth of surf music, Los Angeles got a sound all its own.
About the Beach Boys was my brother Dennis and my cousin Michael came back from the beach. I think it was on a Saturday, a long time ago. And Dennis said, well, we're going to start a group and we're going to sing songs about surfing. And all we wanted to do was make a record about surfing. And it was really that innocent. We had no idea what it entailed or anything like that.
The Beach Boys became one of the most popular American bands ever. A group built around a post-war California dream of hot rod cars and a surf that was always up. And at the center of the Beach Boys was brother Brian Wilson, who composed with his feet in a sandbox.
We put a sandbox in my living room, and I put the piano in the sandbox. And I'd write in the sandbox, and I'd have my feet, my bare feet in sand while I was playing the piano, and it really did some effects. It had some effects on me.
A ranger never takes the easy way out.
You're reaching deep inside you for things you've never known. Go!
That's why getting into the Rangers is tough, and the training is tough.
Be all that you can be.
So it makes me feel like I'm part of something really special.
Be all that you can be.
And I'm not the only one.
You can do it in the army.
Help! Here, let Sarah crawl. I just washed my no-wax floor, even though it doesn't look so great.
What's this? Oh, could be a cloudy film from your cleaner.
Think so?
Try Clean and Clear on your no-wax floor. It's new.
Cleaners that mix cloudy can dry cloudy without rinsing. New no-rinse Clean and Clear mixes clear, dries clear, is clean. Nothing cloudy to rinse away.
Your floor looks terrific.
Try new Clean and Clear, the no-rinse cleaner for a clearly beautiful floor.
It's June clearance time at Iverson RV in Santa Maria. Interest rates are down and we've slashed prices on used RVs. Here's a 79 32-foot Cruise Air motorhome, loaded, including 2 roof air units, just $23,995. An 81 35-foot Leighton Park trailer, full rear bed and roof air, $99.95. A 79 Wilderness 23-foot with full bath, $54.95. A 77 Argosy 20-foot, it's lightweight, just $44.95. Come to Iverson RV, home of the Hiking Viking in Santa Maria.
I found a solution for problem skin. The S. Marie Problem Skin Treatment System. It really works.
It gives skin the care it needs naturally. Gentle and deep cleansing, light scrubbing, toning and conditioning, and a special way to moisturize skin without adding extra oil.
Problem skin doesn't have to be a problem.
Send check or money order for $34.95 to this address or call toll-free 1-800-448-6909.
I think that what made Detroit unique as far as a lot of talent being or coming from that area was the fact that Motown Records was there, you see, and there was no Motown Records in a lot of the cities, and if you weren't in like New York or Chicago, even out here in Los Angeles at that time was not a real record marketplace or a real place where you began in records. It was basically for movies and that.
In the years before the British invasion changed the way we perceived rock and roll here in America, there was a constant shift in the focus of where the action was happening. It moved from Memphis to Nashville to New York to New Jersey to Philadelphia, and by 1962 had settled in a modest bungalow on West Grand Boulevard in Detroit that called itself Hitsville, USA. Hitsville was the home of Motown, and the man behind Motown was a musical genius named Berry Gordy. Motown Vice President Smokey Robinson remembers the first time they met.
When we first met Berry, there was no Motown Records, you see, and he was a songwriter himself. And he wrote all of the songs that really became popular by Jackie Wilson at that time. And Jackie Wilson, of course, was one of my idols. And so I had all of his records. And when I met Berry Gordy, I knew exactly who he was because I knew, you know, everybody who was on the label of a Jackie Wilson record.
Now when you get out, don't you have no, put your hand on your hip.
first big hit that Smokey Robinson and his group, The Miracles, recorded for Motown was a song called Shop Around. And because of that hit, many people credit Smokey with being the man who gave Motown its start.
Well, perhaps I would like to think that, but I'm not really sure on that. You know, like I said, because I do know for a fact that we have had many talented people throughout the years at Motown Records, not only artists, but producers and writers and those people like that. And I think that Motown stimulated that kind of atmosphere in Detroit, and young people just came out of the walls, you know, to do that thing. So I don't know if it would have been successful as soon because, of course, like you mentioned, Shop Around was the first big record that we had, and it did get the ball rolling for the company and for our group and so on. But like I said, I don't think that, you know, it's because of us that it really happened.
And then she said, just because you become a young man now, there's still some things that you don't understand now. Before you ask some girl for a hand now, keep your freedom for as long as you can now. But my mama told me, you better shop around. Oh yeah, you better shop around. Shop around. There's some things that I want you to know now. I just as sure as the wind's gonna blow now. The women come and the women gonna go now. Before you tell them that you love them so now. My mama told me, you better shop around. Oh yeah, you better shop around. Shop around. I try to get yourself a bargain, son. Don't be sold on the very first one. A pretty girl from a dime a dozen. I try to find one who's gonna give you true loving. Before you take the girl and say I do now, I'll make sure she's in love with you now. My mama told me, you better shop around.
We had what we called artist development. And artist development was a school for our artists, which was mandatory. I mean, there was no choice. When you signed as a Motown artist, you didn't say, well, hey, I don't want to go to artist development, or I know I got my stuff together, so I don't have to go. You had to go. And you learned everything from hygiene to walking down the street, you know. And it was a very good thing. And we didn't even send acts out on the road until they were ready to go.
The number of great acts who poured out of Motown in the 60s has never been duplicated or rivaled in rock history. The Motown alumni of the 60s would fill up the Musical Hall of Fame many times over. There were the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Supremes, the Isley Brothers, Junior Walker and the All-Stars, and of course, Marvin Gaye.
But you brighten up all my day with a love so sweet in so many ways. I want to stop and thank you, baby. I want to stop and thank you, baby. Hey, now, how sweet it is to be loved by you.
During the 60s, there was a struggle for black music acceptance amongst whites. Before Berry Gordy, it was thought of as not particularly chic to have black record collections in your homes if you were white. The 60s and Berry Gordy Motown has done a great deal to alleviate that myth.
Most of the black music in America was coming out of Motown, but not all of it. From Philadelphia came the OJs, the Stylistics, the Spinners, and Wilson Pickett. From Memphis, there was Carla Thomas, Sam and Dave, Eddie Foy, Booker T and the MGs, and a woman who asked for respect named Aretha Franklin.
In terms of respect, I guess you'd have to say as a vocalist and recording artist, it changed my life. And on that particular song, my sister and I got a chance to work together, Carolyn. We did the background music to that, and we came up with that famous line, the sock it to me mine.
Franklin with respect. And respect is certainly something that rock has worked hard to achieve over the years. In the past hour, we've looked at some of the great legends of early rock and roll. From its beginning in the 50s, rock and roll has affected our lives and altered the world around us, and it always will. In the words of Elvis Presley, the king, rock and roll has been around for many years, and I don't think it'll ever die out because they're going to have to come up with something mighty good to take its place. I'm James Darren, wishing you good rockin' tonight.
This program has been brought to you in part by Snickers. Satisfy your hunger between meals with Snickers bar. Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies. Also by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be.